Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for coming. So, despite appearances and the fact that I picked the wine for tonight, I'm not actually a sommelier, so I'm very sorry. You had one of the reds, sir. How was it? Excellent. Tesco is a very fine establishment. Also, to disappoint the rest of you, I'm not actually the magician for this evening. So, I'm sorry. Compliance is magic, depending on who you're talking to, but yeah. So, I'm Gilbert. I'm the founder of Fintech Compliance. Very nice to see you all here tonight. I was a compliance consultant for around 5 years, and I love a challenge. So I started getting involved with fintech compliance companies. Always very interesting because they're always coming from a different point of view. They're not necessarily from the industry. And again, I love a challenge. What I found was, when I was working in a compliance consultancy, is that there wasn't always a consideration of the firm's business. Consultants would frequently simply dictate what the terms of regulation were to the company. Quite often would actually leave it to them to figure out how to deal with it. I found that where these fintech companies are coming from, not necessarily from within the financial services, where they're coming, at issues from a slightly different angle, they needed a bit more of a holistic approach. So what we do, we have a team that works very closely with fintech startups. And very frequently we get involved at a very early level with product development. It used to happen in the early days of fintech that people would go 80 miles an hour trying to bring their product to market, and at some point a lawyer would tell them, ooh, I think that needs to be regulated. And they go, really? But why? I'm trying to do good in the world. I'm trying to change things. I'm disrupting. And they'd end up coming to someone like myself, and they go, right, I've got the product, we've got a team in place, let's do this paperwork compliance stuff. Oh, it's not really like that. It doesn't just take 2 weeks. You can't just cut and paste paperwork, well, some do, but you can't do that. You really have to take account for compliance and how that is going to interface with your business model. You can't look at compliance and think, okay, how are we going to get around this? You've got to think, how can I incorporate this into my product? And how can I assure this is compliant? Now, as there's more of an awareness of compliance in fintech startups, more people are taking it into consideration at a very early stage. And that's quite important. An example was a client that I've engaged with recently in terms of a good approach. So they're at the initial concept stage, and they're bringing to market an app which help advise people on which exchange-traded funds to invest into. Fine, nice and simple, low risk. It serves a purpose. There's people out there who don't have access to financial advice because they don't have enough money, and this is for that lower-end type of user. And in this conversation, I said, okay, so they answer a set of questions, and then you advise them on which fund to buy. How do you get remunerated? Oh, we take a commission from the fund. Okay, who here knows about RDR? Yeah, okay. Basically, you're not allowed to take commission for advised sales anymore because there's an inherent conflict of interest. If they had gone all the way down that road and to the point where they had completed the product, they had everything in place, and all they needed was compliance, I would have said, okay, well, you've either got to rethink how you get your revenue, or you've got to lose the advice. And essentially, and a really important thing in compliance at the moment is to try and tackle it early on. If you leave it until last, it's always going to be a problem, and that's going to be one of the ways that you're going to end up hating compliance. If you get everything in compliance right in the first place, not only does that offer your consumers protection, but it also offers you protection. And yeah, I think I've done that within 5 minutes. Essentially, we love helping startups. We find it fascinating. We really enjoy the challenge. We help them scope out their business model, develop their product to make sure it's compliant. We help them with the FCA authorization, and once they're authorized, we help them stay out of trouble.
Excellent. So, questions? A couple of questions at this point. Go for it, Serge.
Yes, sir.
What about the FCA sandbox? Do you get involved in any of that?
I have had some involvement with the FCA sandbox. The sandbox is what I've found is a lot of startups hear the word sandbox, but don't actually read up on it or investigate it. They say, "There's a sandbox. Can we just do that?" Not really. The sandbox serves a very specific purpose, in my mind, where you have a startup which is so funky, shall we say, that it doesn't fit into current regulations at all. And that's where it serves a very good purpose, where it allows firms to bring their product to market in a limited scope, because they wouldn't be able to otherwise. What I advise clients, so I have if I have a client that comes to me and says, "I want to go via the sandbox," and I say, "Well, actually, your business model, whilst funky, slots in lovely. It exactly meets the regulations, and actually we can just crack on and go ahead." What's the point of going to the sandbox? The sandbox is a 6 to 8 month process, and actually the FCA says that you're not allowed to have a sandbox application and any other kind of application at the same time. Essentially, if you don't need the sandbox, don't go for it. It's going to put your business back by 6 to 8 months in terms of time and cost.
Cool. Time for a quick one. Use this.
Thank you. And I guess in the same vein, do you work with any startups on the Bank of England's accelerator?
No.
We respect short questions and short
Not
answers.
yet.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Gilbert. Big hand for Gilbert and Letitia, if you'd like to.